Hello, it's Ameer, and I guess as you can see from the last video, I got a haircut now under the shelter in place, and today is April 17th, 2020, and I trust that all of you out there, you and your families are safe, healthy, and well during this shelter in place. And since we've been sheltering in place, it's been about 1 month as of yesterday since we've all been staying at home. And for me, one of the biggest difficulties was the first 2 weeks, right? Because I'm always out and about meeting property owners, meeting potential buyers, and going from property to property. So always out and about. And so it's been a major adjustment for me. And at least from what I'm hearing, is a lot of people are wondering, when is it that we're going to be able to go back out there and do the activities that we were all accustomed to? The other thing that I wanted to really discuss today was, I've been speaking to a lot of people over the last month and receiving a lot of questions and outreach in regards to, is the housing market going to crash based on this recession that we're either in a point of history, or we're going to be in eventually. But from a lot of the indicators that we're already in what's going to be a recession. And what I mean by that is, well, let's discuss the topic, right? The other thing that we'll also touch on is what's happening here in the Silicon Valley as it compares to what's happening nationally. But yes, the question is a recession, does that equal a housing crash? And so let's go ahead and break that down. So number one, let's talk about what is a recession, and what is the actual definition of a recession? And according to the National Bureau of Economists, what their research shows is that a recession is a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy, lasting more than a few months, and that's typically 2 consecutive quarters, normally visible in real GDP, real income and employment, as well as industrial production, and finally wholesale retail sales. And with that being said, the COVID-19 hit the pause button on the American economy starting in the middle of March. Now, according to major investment firms such as Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, they are all calling for a deep dive in the economy in the second quarter of the year. And though we may not be in a recession in the technical definition of the word today, but most believe that historically, in a time in history, it'll be from April until June. Now, what does that mean for housing, and specifically here in the Silicon Valley? Many fear, at least from what I'm hearing, that a recession is going to be a repeat of the housing crash in 2008. However, the past shows us that most recessions do not adversely impact home values. And according to Doug Bryan, CEO of Mind Property Management, what he explains is that with the exception of 2 recessions, the Great Recession and from 2007 to 2009, and the Gulf War recession from 1990 to 1991, no other recessions have impacted the housing market, according to Freddie Mac Home Price Index, data collected from 1975 to 2018. Now, according to CoreLogic, in a second study of the last 5 recessions, we found, with the same exception of 2008 and 1991, housing prices actually appreciated moderately, the same, as expected here in this situation of COVID-19. What are some of the other economic experts saying? So this is what 3 economic leaders are saying about the housing correction to this specific recession. So number 1, Robert Dietz, he's the chief economist with NAHB, and what he mentions is that the housing sector enters this recession underbuilt rather than overbuilt. And what that means, as the economy rebounds, which it will at some stage, and we all know this, we've been through this, housing is the step to help lead the way in the economy recovery. And according to Ali Wolf, chief economist at Myers Research, he mentions the last time housing led the recession, this time it's poised to bring us out of the recession. This is the Great Recession for leisure, hospitality, trade, transportation, in that this recession will feel as bad as the Great Recession did to housing for those sectors. Now, according to John Burns, founder of John Burns Consulting, he also revealed that his firm's research concluded that recessions caused by a pandemic usually do not significantly impact housing values. And he specifically mentions historical analysis showed us that pandemics are usually V-shaped, sharp recessions that quickly recover from what we're seeing on the news, enough to provide very little damage to home prices. And so the bottom line is that if we're not in a recession yet, we're about to be in one, and a lot of people are seeing the effects of this with all the unemployment numbers that we're seeing online. It'll be a quick economic recovery, and specifically here in the Silicon Valley, properties are still being listed and sold at approximately a 40% rate of what they were the same time last year, also with multiple offers, just not as much as with the case of 2016 and 2017 of what we saw. And if anybody needs to move at this time, we're taking all the precautions and all the CDC step guidelines to social distancing and safe distancing. If you need to move, or you're thinking about moving and would like to do a pre-planning session, we're doing that through Zoom, FaceTime, Skype, and any of the other ways out there. Most people are using Zoom and Skype, and we're more than happy to talk to you and answer any questions and help you pre-plan. Other than that, thank you for tuning in again, and I appreciate your time, and I wish you a safe, wonderful, and happy and healthy weekend. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.